This is episode 15. Do you have a dachshund and have questions on topics like training and nutrition? Do you want a dachshund and need help locating a breeder or finding a great rescue? Did you have a dachshund growing up and want to share some funny or heartwarming stories? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Wiener Dog Lover Podcast, the place to be for all things dachshund. Hello and welcome back. I hope you've all enjoyed a festive holiday season with your family, both two-legged and four. We had a really quiet holiday season and thankfully a very mild one. The Wieners are super happy that we've had good weather. When do you walk your dogs? I prefer early mornings before everyone else is up and about. It's dark out right now, so we can enjoy the colors of the Christmas lights. I really find my early morning walks, a little bit like meditation. Today's episode is about walking, but it involves a lot more people, dogs, and a lot more sunshine. Today is December 30th, and I spoke with Leslie Steele, and he is the current organizer of the Key West Dachshund Walk that takes place on December 31st at noon in Key West, Florida. This is a very popular event, and Les mentions that people have told him that it was on their bucket list, and I will admit I have added it to mine. Hopefully, after you listen to our talk today, you'll add it to yours. Before we get into the interview, I'd like to just mention a couple of things. If you have an event like this one, send me an email and we can do an interview to get you some recognition. And second, if you're enjoying this podcast, I'd love it if you would share it with others, as well as click the link in the show notes or go to the Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Leaving reviews helps others find us. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into today's interview with Les Steele from Key West Dachshund Walk. Welcome today to the Wiener Dog Lover Podcast. I totally appreciate you taking some time out of your day to speak with us. Now, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became a Wiener Dog Lover.
My name is Les Steele, originally from Charleston, West Virginia. I moved here into Key West in 1998. When I came down with a broken heart, sort of did the Key West thing, and I actually got sober in 2003 and changed my life. And how I met Boo, which was my first dachshund, I was 6 weeks sober and he was 6 weeks old. We met in a pet store here in Key West. Two ladies that I was doing their hair at that time said, go back and look at the puppies. And I told them that I really wanted a small dog. And she said, hold on just a second. She went to the back and brought this baby up, and he was walking towards me. And all I said was, oh, Boo. And he just rolled over on his back, and he was with me clear up until 3 years ago. And that's how the love of the dachshund started in my life. He was my first sober baby.
That's awesome. My math skills are horrible. So how old was he then?
Boo was 12, and he had been in all of the Dachshund walks clear up until his 12th year.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then I have one of Boo's puppies. 3 years into his life, he met a little girl. Oh. It was one of my clients' daughter, and they had babies, and I kept one of the babies, and his name is Buddy. And now Buddy is going into the 14th year of the Dachshund Parade on New Year's Day, 31st. He'll be doing his 14th walk.
Wow, that's impressive. How did the Dachshund Walk get started?
There's a lady by the name of Ruth Ryder. Hey, can I go back and tell you a little something else?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Well, that wasn't completely true. Buddy was not born for the first 12. And then Buddy was born. So Buddy has been here for all 13 years, not 14 years.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, if you look at him, he looks just like his daddy now.
Oh.
I never thought that would happen. I don't know if you know this, but dog spells backwards is God. And that's what got me through a lot of things. I had someone to talk to when no one else was there.
That's a hard one to swallow. What currently then you have Buddy, you said, right? Is he a smooth coat, long, standard, mini?
I have long hair. I like long hair. Boo was long hair tan. Buddy's long hair tan. when the puppies came, I literally didn't go for the most beautiful. I went with the one that looks like Boo.
Yeah.
I used to be the person that had to have the prettiest one, but I thought he was the prettiest one, not the dapple.
Okay, yeah.
So we had all long hair. Since we lost Boo 3 years ago, it was only 6 weeks after Boo passed away. And it was really hard around our house because our buddy's head was sort of down and he was moping. And Greg and I were not doing so well because that was our baby.
Yeah.
So there was a lady sitting in the hair salon one night, and I asked her if she knew anybody that could bring a puppy down from North Carolina. And she said, well, my brother lives there. And I said, do you think he'd bring a puppy down here? She said, no. She said, but my mom's going up tomorrow. Do you want her to bring him back? So 6 weeks later, we were parents again. And the lady that I got Brody is our blonde, long-haired Dachshund. He came down with Miss Marcia. I think we had him, his tickets, his blood, everything done, and he was here in 3 days after we went through a lady. Her name is Mrs. Carter. She's in North Carolina. She was able to, at first she tried to talk me out of it because she said that she didn't want me to just jump into something. But then she heard our story and said she thought it would be good for us to have another dog. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but I mean, she was a handler for a long-haired dog. She was just being honest with us. I'll tell you, I told you that, I had been sober for 15 years.
Yeah.
That first year that I had Boo, there's a lady here in town. She's the one that says that it takes a village to do things in town.
Yeah.
And she said that I met them one night out on the sidewalk, and they told me, she said, is that a dachshund? And I was like, yes. And I didn't know she and Dan that well, and I didn't remember that they had a dachshund. But my story begins with that. The Dachshund Walk, Ruth Ryder is the person that originally started the Dachshund Walk. That was 14 years ago on the 31st. And it started in front of the courthouse at noon, and people would bring their Dachshunds, and we used to just do it on the sidewalk. Over the past 5 or 6 years, we actually were able to start having it in the street. So we take them from in front of the courthouse down Fleming, down Duval Street and Appleworth, and it's over. And there's so many people that come out to this and give to a good cause. Everybody brings dog food.
Okay. And
that goes to a local food pantry. Because if you can't afford to feed yourself, you probably can't feed your dog. And that was my idea. We've been doing it ever since. But what I wanted you to know is my dog, Boo, met Schumann, and that was Ruth's long wired hair Dachshund. And it amazes me still to this day that she and her husband, Dan Metzler, it was because of 2 dogs that we have our friends and our family now, because they are like our family.
Yeah.
Because she lost Schumann, and when she lost Schumann, she didn't want to get another dog, so she watches other dogs. So she's the well-known Nana.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she really did. She started the parade, and she asked me about 5 or 6 years ago, I think it's 6 years, if I would take it over or be interested in it, and I said I would. And we've been doing this for 14 years, and it's amazing what dogs can do to bring people together.
Very true.
I think that's probably one of the coolest things that happens down there, because it's almost like when all the Dachshunds are together, they know that they're with their people, and they don't go after each other or anything. It's pretty amazing. So, it's something that we have a lot of people. We've had people, we were their bucket list, was they were going to bring their Dachshunds down to Key West.
Well, you're on mine. At some point, I'll be down there with my Dachshunds for sure.
Well, we would love to have you. It's a great time. It doesn't last very long at all, but you're satisfied for the rest of the day because you know you did something good and you took your kids out and let them be around their own people.
Now, I saw on one of posters, I think on your Facebook site or somewhere online, that it said that the Dachshund is the official dog of Key West. Now, is that self-proclaimed, or does Key West actually?
I think that's probably self-proclaimed, but sometimes I believe it's true because you wouldn't believe how many babies that we have down here that are Dachshunds.
Awesome.
Especially after the people who live in other places, what we call snowbirds. That's when we double up on our Dachshunds. So they usually get here for it. I think last year we had I think it was 179 or 189 Dachshunds. So
that's a good number.
It's a good little party.
Yeah. I saw as well you have a Grand Marshal. Do you have that every year?
Yes, we do.
And
last year our Grand Marshal came from Big Pine. The lady that her daughter was named, I think it was Cricket.
Was the dog's name?
Yes. And the reason that we asked her was because this lady basically lost her house.
Oh.
And the dog basically lost her house. Was living in one room after Hurricane Irma. But last year they came down, and she told me it was one of the best times she had ever had. And she was very grateful that we made her a part of it. But we wanted to make it someone who, made it through Hurricane Irma last year. And this little dog, she's the one that did it.
What type of dog
she was? She was a long-haired blonde.
Okay.
She was a darker blonde than Brody. Brody's like pale blonde. And this one has a little bit more of an orange and blonde color.
Now, are they chosen before they get to the walk?
Dr. Troxel and Rita Troxel. He's a dentist up the Keys. Their Dachshund got thrown off a boat this summer.
Oh.
And her name was Lola. And Lola was not found that day. They went everywhere to find her. They couldn't find her, but she had her life vest on. And the next morning they found Lola in the mangroves. And she had been in the mangroves probably all night or floating all night and back in the mangroves. We don't know. But the next morning they pulled her out, and she's going to be our Dachshund. And Rita and Miss Dr. Troxel are making a float rather than us using a pedicab. And it's going to be a mangrove with Lola sitting in the mangrove with her bedazzled life jacket.
Being from a landlocked city, what did you call it? Where was she found?
In the mangrove.
Oh, yeah. So what's a mangrove?
It's a tree that grows it's not really deep water. It's more on the bank of the ocean, and it's illegal to tear them down. They're a native tree.
Oh, okay.
She could have, it's possible the waves could have brought her up, or the how the water comes in, the water comes out.
The tide, yeah.
She could have been pulled in or in on the mangrove. I know it was all night, but I don't know if she was in that particular place all night. But she's going to be in our parade this year. That's what counts. I think what she said is she's going to be the spokesperson for swimming safely. So for Dachshunds to swim safely with their life preserver.
That's awesome.
And that's what the Troxels would like for people to remember.
That's great. I also want to know, so who chooses the Grand Marshal? Are they chosen? They're chosen obviously beforehand because you know that now. So who chooses?
Sort of just if we hear a story, because last year our Dachshund passed away. It was going to be our Grand Marshal. It was a 17-year-old Dachshund.
Wow.
And she passed away, and that's how we found out, lady from Big Pine.
They find you, so to speak. Well, that's great. I think that's more authentic.
I'm going to be honest with you. Buddy will be 14 next year.
Yeah.
So 15 years, we're going to actually, if we can get a hold of CNN while CNN's down here,
Yeah.
because they come down for the shoe drop for sushi. We're going to let them know that we're going to drop a dachshund from the courthouse from the second floor to the first floor at high noon instead of midnight for our 15 years.
I'm assuming you mean a stuffed one?
Well, that's still debatable because I know Buddy would do it because Buddy he'll do anything. All Daddy would have, all he'd have to do is hear her Daddy's voice. And that's me.
All right. Well, maybe next year we'll do this podcast live from your 15th anniversary.
That'd be awesome.
Where I am right now is snowing and cold, so I would be more than happy to be in Key West in December. I'll put that on my radar for sure. How do people go about getting involved? Is there a registration for the event, or do they just show up?
Everyone just shows up at 12 o'clock on the courthouse lawn. That we provide water and bags for disposal.
Sure. That's
where we start, and that's where we end.
All right. And so how you said it's about 3 blocks? Is that about right? How long does
it's one full city. It's one full city block. We go all the way around the block.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And it does take some time because we have a police horseman brigade. The policemen get involved with it and have fun with us.
Nice. Do you need any volunteers? Do people help out during the day?
You wouldn't believe how many people come and are helping in so many ways, like people who take the dogs to people who I line it up.
Okay. You pretty much have what you need.
Really, yeah. And we just like for people to come and see that we're the honorary dog of Key West.
Okay. And then the other thing is, where can people find you? Whether it's online?
We will be on Whitehead Street in front of the courthouse.
Okay.
And that's where mile marker 0 is. And on the corner, it says Dachshund Walk.
Perfect.
It says it on one of the posts. So people always know where it is.
Well, that's perfect. All right. And then have you got any kind of social media presence?
We have a Facebook wall under Dachshund Parade Key West.
Okay. So that's, if people want to find you online, that's the best place to find you, at Facebook.
Yes.
Perfect.
That'll take you right to someone that's working directly with it.
Then, Leslie, I will let you go so that you can get back to work, and I totally appreciate you spending some time with us here today. Doesn't Les make it sound like a great way to spend New Year's Eve? How could it go wrong? Florida in December with 150 plus dachshunds. If you attend, tag us in your photos so that we can see all the fun we missed this year, and make it a must for me to attend next year. Happy New Year, Wiener dog lovers, and I hope that 2019 is a great year for you and your Doxies. If you have a Wiener dog story, an event, or a topic you'd like to see us cover, send an email, bark@wienerdoglover.com. Follow us on Instagram, wiener_dog_lover_, or Twitter @lovingwienerdog, or find us on Facebook, Wiener Dog Lover. Never miss an episode. Head on over to wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time we put out a new podcast. I'd also be grateful if you would leave us a review. Until next time, Wiener dog lovers, this is Lori, Sheba, and the Wieners signing off.